The next play, which will be over in the Jerome stage, is one of the plays that we read last year in our in-progress new play reading series, Two Jews Walk Into a War. So some of you were there, I know. This is about the last two Jews in Afghanistan. And it is based on two actual real-life people who stayed in Afghanistan when everybody else fled under the Taliban and under the oppression. And they stayed to try to hold on to the last synagogue that was in that town. And the only problem with it was they hated each other. And so here's like the last two people on earth, and they happen to absolutely despise each other. So it's about these two guys having to band together and keep this synagogue from blowing up and keep the Jewish community alive of two in Afghanistan, so that hopefully one day people could come back. And they decide to, well, you'll have to see it. They decide to sort of rewrite some old Jewish writings, and they completely disagree on how to do it, and it's actually very, very funny. If I had to put a little subplot under it, it would be a vaudeville. It is bizarre and fun and funny and real. So that great combination. It is not actually a world premiere. I think we are going to be doing the 4th production of this play. And the cool thing is that, which I'll get to a little bit later about the National New Play Network, one of the other 10 people that I originally started the National New Play Network with 10 years ago was Seth Rosen, and he is the artistic director of the Interact Theater Company in Philadelphia, and he wrote this play. And he is a playwright, and I've read many of his plays, and I love this play, and I think it's going to be great and fun. And because it's two people, it's going to be in the Jerome stage. Oh yes, and to close our season next year, here on the main stage, will be Ruined. This is a play by Lynn Nottage, of which we've done several, Intimate Apparel, Mud River Stone. She is one of the leading younger African-American women who are writing plays, which I always look for. And this is her new play, which won the Pulitzer last year. And I was playing at Manhattan Theater Club. I was fortunate enough to see it. And this play is amazing. I think she has something to say, whether it takes place here. Actually, several of her plays have taken place in Africa, South Africa. This play takes place in the Republic of Congo, and it is about, the title actually comes from women who are sexually mutilated, and then they are ruined for the rest of their life sexually. And where do they go? There's no place for them. They can't get married. So Mama Nadi, who runs a brothel in the middle of the Congo, takes in these strays and these misfits who have no other place to be. And she takes these women in as singers, as people who clean in the brothel. And it's very interesting because the politics of it, and that every other week there's a new terrorist organization who's like in charge of the country, and they come in and they have to keep track of, you know, who's on top or who they're nice to, and you know, what they talk about. And so it's the women in this bar and brothel, and I think it's a huge cast for us. It's all relative. The other 8 characters are all men who play a number of different military organizations throughout the several months that this play takes place. It's a wonderful play. And it is another one of our co-productions. Distracted and Ruined are the 2 co-productions. Oh, wow. There's a theme. Distracted and Ruined are 2 of the co-productions that we are doing with UMKC Theater. And And Ruined, hopefully, will be being directed by Ricardo Kahn. We're keeping our fingers crossed on that, from the Crossroads Theater. Now there's one little bonus that we're throwing in here, an extra to the season. It's not on the season ticket, but it's an extra that, of course, all of you who are season ticket holders get at a ridiculously reduced price. But for Christmas, and I say that, I say that for the holiday, we're going to be producing a world premiere, A Very Joan Crawford Christmas. It actually has yet to be written, but we have a pretty good idea what's going on. It is going to be written by Jeff Church and Ron McGee. So Ron, I know you're writing this by the pool this summer with Jeff.
Yes.
And it will star you as Joan Crawford.
Yes.
And we kind of know what it's about, and it's going to be really fun. And for once, we're going to make a nod to Christmas here at the Unicorn Theater, against my better judgment, but only because it's you guys. And I know Jeff Church couldn't be with us today because they're doing the Young Playwrights Roundtable.
But he sent us an email.
Yes, we have an email from Jeff that you're going to read to us.
Imagine a setting where you can settle in with Joan Crawford along with her loyal housekeeper, Mamacita, and several Hollywood friends and enemies. Give Joan the respect she's entitled to. Kansas City's own Joan Crawford returns for a visit this Christmas, and it's not her first time at the rodeo. Even though her girlhood days here were rough, she fought worse monsters in Hollywood, not the least making that movie with Betty. This Christmas, you'll be treated to Joan's advice and how to keep a sensitive male ego happy, how to host a dinner party and taste. You'll see different moments from her shows. All of this on the stage with Joan, and Pepsi and vodka will be served. This is also an interactive show because incredible that's come up. We're just drinking and we're like, what can the audience do for Christmas to be fun? There's going to be a craft room to decorate wire hangers for the Christmas tree.
And we're going to hang them on our Christmas tree.
So we're very excited.
Very excited.
This is I think my 5th Christmas with you.
Oh my God.
I'm very excited. I always spend the holidays at the Unicorn, and you should too.
We're actually, and we're going to have, I think, a big blowout Christmas Eve. Yeah, I just remember when I started with the Unicorn, it was like, I always had a show on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and people would go, I don't think that you probably should do that. People don't go to theater. They're home with their family. And I went, nah. When I was a kid. But I learned not to do that because nobody does want to be at the theater. But we're going to do it this year because of this show, because of you, Ron. We're going to have a party Christmas Eve surrounding this show. And also the other little tidbit that I'm going to say, because I totally believe in being extremely hopeful and positive about this, even though it's taken, how many years? 36 years. And Jason, forgive me, but by this show, we're going to have our liquor license. And so we will be drinking along with Joan Crawford. Hopefully every show will have its own specialty drink.
Pepsi and vodka.
Pepsi and vodka for this one. I want to thank you all so very much for joining us. Go out, have some coffee and a cookie, and renew your season tickets, and I'm sure I will see you all very soon.